What's up, everybody? Trending in the AM, it is Overreaction Monday. And the Phillies just got swept by the Giants. Can you imagine what I am going to have to say today? Yeah, we got a jam-packed show, a jam-packed crew here today. Trending in the AM starts in 30 seconds.
Holding gets around in front. And Philadelphia has it.
What is up, everybody? Happy Labor Day. Good morning. Salutations, greetings to everybody. Trending in the AM right here on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, on DSM Media. Like, share, retweet, follow, do all that great stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, the best place to get interactive with the show, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button to help us build the algorithm, build us up the charts. Drop your comments there. The more comments, the more further up the chart we get. I am Phil Stifle, your host at Beard of Knowledge. We got Jason Voorhees and back from the living dead, Mark Moscatelli. Mark with a C. Welcome back, Mark. Jason, I don't even care that you're on the show. Welcome back, Mark.
Stop, you're making me blush.
Yeah. You look so young, clean shaven, man.
Well, I got a little growth going, but yeah, the beard is gone.
The beard is gone.
But my hair game, does not compare to Jason's blonde, spiky hair.
Yeah.
That I envy Jason's hair.
Man.
I appreciate it, Mark.
So, Jason, you work at a food store. Mark, you were just talking before we went live about going grocery shopping this weekend. You said you called it a supermarket. I call it a food store. What is the correct term, Jason? What since you're the professional in that business, is it a food store or is it a supermarket?
Well, your smaller ones like Aldi's and Lidl's and stuff like that, Whole Foods, they would probably be considered a food store. But Giant, ShopRites, Acme's, they're supermarkets.
Now we got grocery store popping in as an answer here.
Grocery store, yeah.
I don't know what it is. I food shop.
The official term. Yeah, the official term is supermarket. That's what we are considered.
This is the kind of information you start off a great sports program with every single morning right here.
But to Chris Bosch's point, it used to be a grocery store, but the thing is supermarkets now sell more than just groceries. They sell other stuff. And even like if you go into a Target and a Walmart, they sell food now. So it's like almost like intertwined.
I know who it is, Ginn.
I'm sorry?
If you didn't know. Chris Bosch is Ginn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you didn't know, I knew, but I didn't know if you guys knew. All right,
I didn't know.
Yeah, all right. Let's forget about all that. That was just something stupid and fun that Mark said before we went live, and it just made me think of something a little funny there.
The supermarket. You never heard the term supermarket?
I've heard of it. I just disagree. It's like the Jimmy's Sprinkles, argument.
Well, it's Jimmy's. It's not Sprinkles.
It's Sprinkles.
Oh, dude,
I worked at Friendly's for a year and a half. They're Sprinkles.
Friendly's is a Fugazi ice cream place.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, they gave me a key to the restaurant at 16 years old. What's that tell you?
Oh, my God, dude.
I was the closing manager and the kitchen manager at 16 years old. That tells you all you need to know.
Never mind. I was going to go with a story, but I'm not going to roll it.
No. Let's forget about that. Let's get into Overreaction Monday. The Phillies get swept by the Giants. They have now lost 6 of their last 7. Dude, Dylan was on Monday last week with me. And I said, dude, they're not going to be 3-3 this week. Be prepared for a 2-4 or worse week. They went 1-5, even worse than I thought. 1-6 going back to that Pirates series. Overreaction Monday. It is okay. Yes, it is okay to use the word that Big Ed says right here. They're a bunch of losers right now. Basically. Yeah, this is riveting.
God, how quickly we turn on the team.
See, here's the thing. And I got into it with another podcast this past week, and in a friendly way. And I'm not going to call them out because I do like them. I've been on their show. They're good people. But the theory that you're not a fan if you turn on your team and criticize them when things are going bad, that thread pisses me off. And that thread and idea that you cannot be critical. Because let's be honest, guys, whether they they're now down to a 76% likelihood of making the playoffs, the Phillies, still very likely to make the playoffs. Before the week started last week, they were at like 91%. Obviously trending in the wrong direction. But the fact that they came out and played and basically just shit the bed all week. Everybody, top to bottom. Rob Thomson, Aaron Nola, Bryce Harper, everybody. I know the injuries and I know all the excuses. But we are allowed to be critical of how bad this team played this week and how small they came up against two teams that had below 500 records and still be considered fans. If they make the playoffs, of course I'm going to cheer them on. Doesn't mean I'm not a fan because I'm criticizing them at this moment. Mark, is it okay to criticize this team at this moment?
Absolutely. It's always okay to criticize the team that you root for. You have a vested interest in the team. I believe fans hold teams accountable. Sometimes fans do go overboard, but listen, man, losing 6 out of our last 7 in September on a playoff run is not ideal. Are there some factors that are involved that have allowed that to happen? I think so. I mean, they've been caught with the injury bug a little bit at an inopportune time, but their situational hitting, just like yesterday, for example, they lost the game in the 6th inning. They had the bases loaded with 1 out, and Segura and Stott both strike out.
Yep.
You should have gotten some runs there. Hey, more power to JT for hitting that homer to tie the game. But then, again, they put David Robinson out for 2 innings, and then he gave up a walk-off. I mean, did they do that already? Like they stretched him out, or they made him pitch after he threw like 50 pitches? Like why do they keep testing this dude? Give him the 1 inning. You have other pitchers on the staff, but yeah, I'm concerned right now because they're losing, and they got players that they need that are right now on the IL with Castellanos, with Wheeler. Wheeler's not coming back as anticipated. Like it's kind of like a little scary.
Look, for as many excuses, and I want to get to George's point, it depends on how you criticize. And that's the thing. There's a 1 or 2%er out there of fans. They're bums. They suck. Fire everybody. Whatever. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, they're not the real fans. They're just the casual fans that are however. But a majority of us criticize when they're bad. It goes with the Eagles. It goes with the Sixers. It goes with the Phillies. A real fan is willing to be open-minded when they're struggling and criticize them, but also compliment them when they're doing well. And you hit Mark on a lot of good things. But the thing is, you've got all these excuses. The guys that are injured, but there's still JT Realmuto. There is still Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper. Hundreds of millions of dollars playing Aaron Nola, Rhys Hoskins every single day that aren't hurt. You would think these guys have to step up. Now, JT hit a big 3-run home run yesterday, but then David Robertson wasn't able to keep the game close. Rob Thomson maybe, again, showing his weakness as a manager and not knowing how to manage that bullpen. Jason, this is right up my alley. The fact that in the post-game press conference, Rob Thomson brought up the fact that Zach Eflin might be back and that Rob Thomson thinks Zach Eflin's going to save this season just goes to show how Rob Thomson might be a little in over his head at this point. Yes, I know you're going to disagree with it. I know. That's why I threw the question right to you. But
yes and no. I think he's trying to remain positive in spite of this trending in their way wrong direction, so to speak, moment. Like he's the leader. He can't. I mean, we've talked about this as managers. Are they really the leader of a baseball team? And they are to a certain extent. But I think you're still seeing right now, and now is really where you're going to be able to formulate a real opinion of Rob Thomson, because the Phillies have not had this type of stretch where they've struggled this bad under Thomson. Like, this is the first time that they've had a long-term, slump in the wrong way, as far as the whole team is just falling apart. This is exactly the moment. What is he going to do now? What does Rob Thomson do now? So they had a terrible week Okay. How did they come out? What do they play tonight?
No, they're off.
Okay. How did they come out?
9 games against the Marlins and the Nationals, 2 very beatable teams.
So that is where I'm going to make my opinion. I don't think you can. And to George's point, yes, you can criticize. It does depend on how you do it. Because I saw people over the weekend saying trade Harper, which is just an absolute dumbass statement.
Yeah, and that's the 1% of fans that just don't get it
and don't know baseball.
Right.
But
being able to I don't it wasn't directed at me, but I took offense to it. So me and this person went back and forth this week. Like me, I consider myself a real fan, but I'm not criticizing saying, Rob Thomson's a bum. I'm just questioning whether he's head manager material because you see mistakes he makes. Like, again, it's not the first time he's overused David Robertson. Yesterday was the second or third time he has now done this. I know the bullpen is in shambles, but after the game, I don't know if you guys saw the post-game press conference on the road. It's normally in the office and all. He's sitting at his desk in his office. Mind you, in his little beer cooler, there was Miller Lights, just so you know. I zoomed in. Rob Thomson's a Miller Lite guy, just so you know. There's quite a few cans of Miller Lite in his cooler there and bottled water. That was it. You just saw on his face, like no expression. Like he did not know what to do. And the only time he showed any emotion in this post-game press conference was when he asked about, I forget which situation was, about a runner tagging and going home. And he's like, well, when I was a third base coach, and all of a sudden he got to talk about the X's and O's of being a third base coach, and all of a sudden his energy level jumped back up. It's a little thing, this conversation and this little interview. But the emotion on the overall picture was so down on him. And I know they just got crushed. I know he knows he's in trouble now for this, and he's going to be blamed by a lot of fans for this. But the emotion, we've talked about it with the Phillies, the Sixers, multiple times. You take on the personality of your leader. And your leader's showing a broken-hearted, broken person right now. And that's not what you want as the face of your team.
You're right. But
he isn't the main problem, but he is a problem.
But there's a fine line.
Exactly.
I get what you're saying, Phil, and I agree with you. But that does not excuse a guy like Aaron Nola, who I was praising, by the way.
Oh, absolutely not.
Month and a half, I was praising Aaron Nola for a month and a half. And now Aaron Nola comes out and shits the bed.
Oh, you weren't on last week. I got crushed for that by our friends. Our favorite baseball podcast that doesn't do podcasts told me that we were wrong for criticizing Aaron Nola, to blame the offense when the offense went up against their ace in Zach Gallen, who is even better than Aaron Nola. And Aaron Nola needed to come up big, and he shit the bed. There's no doubt about it.
Bryce
Harper,
Nola.
I know he just came back, Bryce Harper, but he hasn't been doing anything. Outside of the 3-run home run yesterday, JT Realmuto hasn't been doing much the last week. Everybody is dropping. But maybe if the manager presented himself with a better, mindset, maybe it helps a little bit. It's not the only thing. The big guys still have to step up. And that's why the injuries are no excuse for me. Because even with all the injuries, you still got Bryce Harper, Aaron Nola, JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, all in that lineup every single day. So the injuries are an excuse, but can't be the excuse that says, well, we could just lose whatever.
And I don't want to play revisionist history, but Kyle Schwarber has quietly slowed down. I listen, I love the guy.
What did you say, Jason, at the All-Star break during the home run derby? Oh, he's going to hit 56 home runs this year? 55, 56? You said he was going to get to that.
Yeah, lucky to get 40 at this point.
I was told that Kyle Schwarber's this stud. And listen, he was great. He was great in June. He was decent in July. But he has done nothing down this stretch. And listen, I'm not blaming Kyle Schwarber, but what I'm getting at is that I think we tend as fans to kind of buy into the hype, and we overrate our own players. This team, listen, we were excited because we have not made the playoffs since 2011. All of us, we're all excited.
Absolutely.
We're fans. As you said. But we're allowed to criticize. But I think sometimes you got to remember that we're in this mode where we have not made the playoffs. So our expectations are we're dying to do that. And we had a team that was playing so well in a short time frame, a smaller sample size, but it kind of got our hopes up. And I kept telling myself, I don't want to buy in. I don't want to buy in because of this reason. Because I am so used to this team doing this every single September. And now this started a little bit early than September. It started probably a week and a half before.
Yeah.
But this is the same exact carbon copy situation that this team has had almost the last 4 seasons in a row, where they actually do well for a certain stretch in August, and then all of a sudden it's like the bottom falls out. And I don't know if you can necessarily just blame the manager, because
I've got more people to blame.
I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair to blame Rob Thomson. He's an interim manager. He's never managed before. He might be a baseball lifer, but he's never managed before. I think he's done a hell of a job with what he was given. They could have tanked and just went down the drain, but they didn't. I don't think he's the problem. I don't think Dombrowski is the problem. I saw a tweet yesterday that he should be fired for the team he constructed.
Let's get into that for a second, Mark. I wasn't gonna bring up Dombrowski's part of it, but we can tack that, because look at it. Our pitching staff is in shambles. If you guys remember, trending the AM at the beginning of the baseball season, what was I concerned about? The starting pitching. Okay. Zach Eflin has been MIA with an injury, and even before that was inconsistent. Kyle Gibson, you either get 8 innings of 2-run ball or 2 innings of 8-run ball, and not like one-sided or the other, like dead middle. You never know what you're going to get. Zach Wheeler's hurt now. He had arm problems to begin with before the season started. Aaron Nola, again, coming back down to earth at the end of the season. And Ranger Suarez now can't pitch past 3 or 4 innings, because I would not be surprised if you see him today get put on the injured list. So now you are going with Aaron Nola as your 1, Kyle Gibson as your 2, Noah Syndergaard as your 3, and Bradley, don't call me Bailey Falter, your 4, and God knows who as your 5.
Screw it. Call up Painter and
I said that 2 months ago. Why not?
Painter, listen, Painter's pitching lights out, man. He is having a phenomenal season.
Absolutely.
I don't know if he's major league ready, and I don't know if we want to put him in a situation where he's got to pitch important games down the stretch. But I don't think
McGeary might be ready, or McGeary or Gruff, whatever his name is.
Well, yeah, but they want to make him a reliever. But I think we need starters now. And again, overall big picture stuff, Phil, the starters actually all over for the season have pitched well. Everything is breaking down at the same time. That's the problem. Everybody, and that's the other thing with this lineup. They're either all hot or they're all cold. And right now they're all cold. It would be nice if only a couple players were cold and everybody else was hot, and then they kind of cycle out. And that you can have consistent.
See the thing. Let me cut you off, because that inconsistency with the lineup. Every single player that Dave Dombrowski brought in here is an inconsistent hitter. There are different types of hitters out there. He didn't go out and get a guy that just consistently hits 280, never peaks too high and peaks too low. He went out and got streaky hitters. Everybody on this team is a streaky hitter. Now, I'm not blaming Dave Dombrowski any more than Rob Thomson or any more than Aaron Nola or whatever, but Rob Thomson did construct this team a certain way.
You mean
and every person he brought in.
You mean Dombrowski.
Dombrowski. Sorry, that's what I meant. Dombrowski brought – who did I say?
You said Rob Thomson.
You said Rob Thomson. You hate that man. I don't know what it is.
I don't have – see, that's a misplaced comment, Mark. I do not hate Rob Thomson. I hate the people that say he's earned to have the interim title removed from his title. That's all I have a problem with.
I haven't said that yet. I mean, if you don't make the playoffs.
Wait, what?
I think you said that he deserved – at some point a month or two ago.
I said if they make the playoffs. I said if they
If
make
they
the
make the
playoffs.
playoffs, they don't have a choice. I think they
No,
have
they
to.
do have a choice if they make the playoffs. Because if they stumble into the playoffs like they are, they backdoor their way in, it doesn't matter to me.
I don't know, man.
I
I
test
think he's done a nice job considering
He's done a
everything.
nice job.
Willing,
But are you happy with a manager that does a nice job, or do you want a manager that does a great job?
all right, hear me out.
I can give two shits about the manager. I just want to see a team that's going to make the playoffs. Go ahead, Jason.
If you were willing to give Gabe Kapler 3 years with this team, then you absolutely need to give Rob Thomson more time. Because Rob Thomson,
who was willing to give him? I didn't want to give Gabe.
Was Kapler here 3 years or 2 years?
A lot of people were pissed off when we got rid of Kapler.
Oh, and there was also a lot of people celebrating it too.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
Rob you also hired Gabe Kapler to be the manager. Rob Thomson was just promoted to be the interim manager,
and that's
you've got to earn that manager role, and he hasn't earned it yet.
I don't think you're giving him the credit that he's due with what he's had to deal with to get this team where they're at. The team was in shambles, Phil. They didn't have Bryce Harper for a month and a half.
You say that it's the players' fault when they lose, but it's not the players' fault that when they do well. So you're saying the good is Rob Thomson, but the bad is the players' fault.
I'm saying it's both. It's a split, 50-50. So you can't.
You're blaming the players for when they struggle, and then the good stretches where we've had, you're saying that Rob Thomson held this team together. Well, Rob Thompson's not holding the team together during the bad stretches. Okay, it goes both ways.
All right, but it's
players help
sample size. That's why I'm saying that we need to see how he does now. If 3 weeks from now,
and he did poorly this week.
If 3 weeks from now this team is still going downwards, then yeah, I'm with you. But if this team all of a sudden comes out and wins 5 out of 6 of the next 6 games, then you can't say that.
But you can't. Well, first off, we won 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 7 right before this stretch. It was the Reds and the Pirates. Well, now we're going against the Marlins and the Nationals. So you beat the really bad teams and then can't beat the good teams or even the Diamondbacks and the Giants are just average teams and you couldn't beat them. Okay. Maybe below average teams and you couldn't beat them. Of course they're going to win a bunch of games.
What has been the biggest issue over this past 2-week stretch? What has been the biggest issue? The biggest problem? The starting pitching. Starting pitching has been the biggest problem.
Starting pitching, bullpen.
They've had 3 starters. They've had 3 starters go more than 7 innings in 17 games. Okay.
I know.
Okay, and you yourself said the starting pitching was a problem from day one.
It was.
Okay, well that's Dombrowski. That's Dombrowski. That's not Rob Thomson. And
yeah, but what did you want him to get though? He's got Nola. He's got Wheeler. Kyle Gibson came in a trade. How many $300 million pitchers are you going to sign? Like that? That's what I'm talking about. Like what did you really want him to do?
But it's not good enough. Their pitching is not good enough to maintain pace with the upper echelon teams. It's not, and it's showing now. It's showing because like I said, I praised Aaron Nola for the last month. I was the one back on the train saying he's an ace. He's had a great year. You know, he should have been an all-star. And now look at it.
But looking on the paper before the season, you had Nola, which is a proven commodity, regardless of how you feel about him. You had Wheeler, who's coming off a near Cy Young season, who's a proven commodity. You got Kyle Gibson, who you traded for, and you were going to roll with him. You got Ranger Suarez, who Bill James said was one of the top 10 pitchers in the league. And actually, he's pitched very well this season. So you got these 4 guys that on paper, based on everything that you've seen, that you feel you can roll with this year. And a 5th starter, listen, you could cycle in whoever the hell that you want for your 5th starter.
I'm going to counter that.
I don't know what else you wanted the team to do.
Let me counter that. Zach Wheeler, yes, possibly should have won the Cy Young last year. But you knew coming into camp this year that his arm was fatigued already. You had to know at some point this year he was going to have problems. Aaron Nola has not been a Cy Young candidate since 2018. He collapses at the end of the year and starts slow every single year. Kyle Gibson has more seasons of over 5 ERA than under 4 ERA in his career. He's a 4.5. He's basically just another Jake Arrieta. Okay. And Ranger Suarez had 12 starts in his career before this year. So you knew he wasn't good by the time he hit that 100 inning mark that he was going to struggle. He was going to be fatigued. So and then you brought in Zach Eflin, and everybody loves Zach Eflin. And look, Zach Eflin was exactly what I said to. So you could say it the positive way. You could also say it the negative way. He built a rotation of question marks and problems and issues.
Which is,
I think some players were more question marks than others, Phil. At the end of the day, you kind of have to rely on your horses too. I mean, between Nola and Wheeler, you would figure that they should be automatic wins just about every time that they pitch. And can you muscle through 2 out of 3 of your other 5 pitchers? And I think you could. Go ahead, Jay. I don't want to cut you off.
Well, no, I just cut you off. Finish.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I just at some point, this team, this organization has to develop players from within, and they can't keep signing these free agents to these massive contracts that they're all going to age at the same time, and you're not going to be able to dump them off. And if you do, it's going to be pennies on the dollar. You have to have a better mix. And honestly, I think they're waiting for Painter and able to come in and fill some of those roles that could be as early as mid-next season. Why are you going to sign a pitcher to a $100 million contract if you got a guy that you know is going to be able to take over?
Can we – I want to almost rephrase Casey's question. Can we give Nola that big contract that he's probably going to want?
Is he a free agent after this year?
I believe he is a free agent at the end of this year. Tough to consider giving him – he's going to command $100 million at least. At least. Because I think he's young enough still to command more than a 5-year contract. You're looking at 5 years, $125 million.
Is he arbitration eligible?
I'm going to look up Aaron Nola's contract situation right now.
I find it hard to believe that they would have him going into the season with an expiring contract if they didn't have any leverage.
No, I know he's not arbitration. No, he is under contract next year. Next year's the last year on his deal. He's getting $16 million. So then he's a free agent after next year. So he because he did sign. They bought out his arbitration a few years back. I remember that. So he's on the hook for $16 million next year.
I don't care what you say. He's probably going to get like a $30 million contract because that's what pitchers are getting. Are we going to pay that? I don't think so.
You just said that you don't let him go into the last year of his contract.
No.
His contract. So do you make an extension for him, or do you try to find a move? I mean, that's more of an off-season conversation, but it's a tough question. And then Big Ed asking, if we make the playoffs and go 0-2, should they take the interim title off? It depends. It depends on the eye test. Who do we face? How do we lose those games? If we lose those 2 games, like we just lost the last 4 or 5 games against the Giants and the Diamondbacks, no, he doesn't get the interim. He just loses his job. But if they go out there and they battle and they compete, and it's just we get beat by a better team that's much more further along in their development, then maybe you do it. But look, I don't want people to think I hate Rob Thomson. I don't. I'm ready to criticize Aaron Nola. I'm ready to criticize Bryce Harper. I'm ready to criticize JT Realmuto, Dave Dombrowski, Rob Thomson, everybody. I'm ready to criticize everybody. And I'm trying to put equal blame on everybody, not more on one side than the other. What were you going to do?
Here's a tricky thing with the manager piece. Dombrowski inherited this coaching staff. This is not his staff. From what I understand, he really didn't want these guys. For them to like win out and maybe win a playoff series would probably be the worst thing for Dombrowski, because now he's got to delay putting the coaching staff in there that he wants.
Right.
But at the same time, if they're winning, you know, what are you going to do? You're going to have to learn to love what you got. So if you believe in Dombrowski, building up the farm system, signing free agents, the next step is to create a coaching staff that's under his vision that would start winning games and being competitive in the division. So if you want that, you probably want them to fail towards the end of the year. And, well, they're on their way to do that.
Fail, let's be honest. Jason already brought up how they do over the next week or two. Look, they got 9 games coming up against the Marlins and the Nationals. They're going to win 6 or 7 of their next 9 games. They're going to backdoor their way to an extent. If you look at the Brewers, who are 2.5 games back, their schedule is super difficult the rest of the season. They're basically almost in by default. It would take a 2007 Mets type collapse for the Phillies not to make the playoffs. They would have to go 1-7 in their or 1-8 in their next game, next week and a half of games to even get that theory that they're not going to make the playoffs out of most people's heads. It's going to take an epic collapse. But
you know what's awesome? If they go like 8-1 in the next 9, this show will age like milk. I mean, and we'll be back on the bandwagon and be like, this team is the greatest thing ever. And
I'm going to tell you the same thing I said at the end of the Red series and the Pirates series. Dude, you beat the bad teams. That's fine. That's what you're supposed to do.
You're supposed
to do against the good teams.
So, I mean,
schedule.
What'd you say, Jason?
You don't pick your schedule.
No, I know you don't pick your schedule, but so, it's not just beating the bad teams and competing against the good teams. It's what you do about those teams.
The bigger concern would have been, Phil, if they were playing down to their level, and they don't do that with the bad teams. They beat the balls off them.
The problem is the problem that the Phillies are facing right now is that, when you lost Bryce Harper, yes, he's MV3. He's the best player on their team. We get that. But it's much easier to supplement a loss in hitting than it is in pitching. And right now, you're missing Zach Wheeler, who I know reports are that he should be okay and come back, but I'm still concerned. Me, myself, Jason,
I am concerned as well.
I'm concerned about Zach Wheeler. Okay,
so we don't see him again this year.
So so you're missing him. You're missing. Listen, Zach Eflin, that's a different story. We replaced him. Bailey Falter's actually been pretty decent as far as he's been better than what I thought.
He's played himself into an opportunity
to
compete for that 5th spot next year.
But I guess the point I'm trying to drive home is that it's much easier to supplement the loss for a batter than it is in pitching. And right now, you're also missing. Don't forget, Sir Anthony's been one of your best pitchers this year. I know that he wasn't like full tilt, and they kind of took him slowly, but he still pitched. If you look at his numbers, in every situation he came in, he was pretty much dominant and on point. He's been out. That's been a big loss. Like, I get that we've mismanaged David Robertson, but it's almost like, who else do you put out there? Like, you lost Corey Knebel, who everyone thought was their closer. Like, coming into the season, that was what we were told. Oh, Corey Knebel, he's the closer. He obviously struggled, but then he was actually turning it on. Like, he was pitching lights out. You lose him for the season. So, listen, I know injuries are not an excuse, but they are to a certain extent. And when you lose pitching, there's only so many bullets you have in the chamber. Like, they can't – I get it. Everyone wants to bring up Painter and Abel. I think it's too soon. They just got promoted to Double-A. Listen, in a pinch, yeah, I think you bring them up for a spot start here and there, maybe. But I don't know if you want to mess with that. Listen, I think next year they're both guys that I would look at maybe being in the rotation, if not in the beginning of the year, mid-season. But you don't have guys. It's not like, all right, you look around the league. Other teams lose pitchers. I'll give you an example. The Marlins. The Marlins, no matter what, even though they have these fire sales, their system is built where they develop pitchers. Sandy Alcantara, now he wasn't developed by them. They traded for Sandy Alcantara. But they still developed him to the point where he's going to have a Cy Young season this year. And look how young he is.
And we faced him twice in the next, 8 games.
I mean, I know we've had success.
We have his number, though.
I'm just using them as an example to what – that's where Mark, you brought it up, and you're spot on. That's where the Phillies will only get better long-term if this farm system is actually being fixed, if it actually is going to start producing. That's when the Phillies will actually turn it around, because it's impossible to keep doing what they're doing and buying guys and bringing in free agents to have long-term success. It's absolutely impossible. You look at the good teams, the Dodgers. The Dodgers have one of the best farm systems in baseball. It's not just that they spend money. They have great farm systems. And that's where the Phillies have kind of dropped the ball over the last 10 seasons. And it's unfortunate, but that's where we're at right now. We don't have.
We got to wrap this Phillies conversation up because we got other topics to get into. We got all week. We'll continue this as the week goes on. We're just not going to agree 100% on what the problems are and how to solve them. But honestly, we'll wrap it up with this. There is no overreaction. The odds still say we are making the playoffs. So all this argument is for nothing because we are going to break our 10-plus year drought of playoffs. We will be in the playoffs come October. It just might not be as exciting as we want it to be. Mark, I saw you shared something in the group chat. So breaking news. I wish I had a breaking news sound effect. Let's see here. Let's see what we got here.
Are you ready?
Breaking news. The Dallas Cowboys have officially signed 40-year-old left tackle Jason Peters to their roster to take over for their injured, plagued line. Yeah, this has been rumored for like 3-4 days now. I don't know what took them so long. But we keep talking about overreacting fans here on Overreaction Monday, and you're not a fan for this or that. I'm sure you guys have all seen it. How many people are so furious that Jason Peters would go sign with the Dallas Cowboys? Honestly, I don't care. It does not hurt his legacy, in my opinion. It does not stop the fact that he will be in the Hall of Fame as a Philadelphia Eagle. And the fans saying they're burning their Jason Peters jerseys and they hate Jason Peters now. Dude, you think I overreact? That's an overreaction. I don't care. If anything, it helps us that Jason Peters is going to go play in Dallas this year.
Were they saying the same thing about Terrell Owens when he went to the Cowboys?
Possibly. I didn't do a podcast back then, but possibly.
I mean,
yeah. Look, Casey's got a spot on here. Who cares? He's just going to collect another paycheck. And more power to him at 40 years old to be able to go collect another couple paychecks for a year playing in his hometown team. More power to him. I love it.
I agree. I'm not going to bash the guy. I mean, shit. He served us well, and I'm glad we're not bringing it back. I'm glad we're not bringing it back. Let's just say that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, did Andre Dillard get
he's
hurt?
Somebody else's headache right now. I think the bigger thing is they signed Peters to play left tackle when they drafted a left tackle in the first round, and they can't put him out there like that. This Cowboy team I don't think is going to be very good this year. I think they're going to be pushing to be a game over 500 all season. I don't see it happening, especially with McCarthy as a head coach. But hey, listen, if he can get the bag, Peters, let him get the bag. I hate to see Hall of Fame caliber players like this hang on and on and on. I mean, like,
I knew you were going to say that, and I don't know. Again,
that bothers me more than anything.
I don't trust PFF 100%. They're just as skewed as everything else. But I did read he did come in last year. He played 15 games with the Bears last year, and he rated out as the 14th or 15th best left tackle in football. So it's not like he was like the 37th best left tackle in football last year. He still was playing at an average grade last year. So he's just not Hall of Fame level like we're used to seeing. He's okay now. So he's not bad anymore. But when he's out there, he's okay.
Well, I would have never believed that he played in 15 games last year because
I wouldn't have believed it either. But he did start 15 games for the Bears last year.
I mean, that's pretty impressive, actually, to be honest with you. Because with us, it was like every
who was watching Bears football last year? Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
Every other game he was out with a hangnail.
I don't even think Chicago fans watched Bears games last year. I mean, they were pretty bad. That whole Nagy situation, the Dalton situation, the Foles, to Fields, it was a mess.
Now, George is saying why, but I get what Mark's saying. I do, because I think athletes
make money.
There are some athletes that just never give up. I mean, and listen, I like even Tom Brady. I'm not going to lie. I was annoyed that Tom Brady came back. Like, you retired. You're the GOAT. Like, why are you coming back? And I know it caused this
because he's still playing at an MVP level, though.
I got that, but listen, they don't retire. There's nothing I hate worse than when people do, like, this happens in wrestling all the time. I see it in wrestling. I see guys that retire and then a year later miraculous.
You mean Ric Flair wrestling at like 70 years old?
Like Kiss, the band Kiss. They're retiring every single year, and then every single year it's like comeback album. Like, no,
you're just mad that they're suckering you out for more money on another album.
Do they still wear their face paint, Jay?
They do now.
They're in their like 70s too.
I don't know how I didn't think this Jason Peters breaking news would take 5 to 10 minutes of a show.
It does, man. See, this is the kind of stuff, Phil.
Overreaction Monday. I don't care that Jason Peters is back with the Cowboys. I do not care. It literally means nothing to me.
Yeah, I don't care.
Now, you're wrong, though, because it means something. Again, like I said, they felt the need to sign a 40-year-old left tackle because they don't have anybody on their roster to fill that role, even though they drafted somebody in the first round to do so. I think that is the bigger story. And honestly, I don't think Dallas is the team to beat in the NFC East this year. I think they're going to go down really fast. You think Washington is the team to beat?
No, I said the Eagles or Washington.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you missed it. I put out my record prediction for every single NFL team over the weekend, and I took a lot of flack for it. Yes, Overreaction Monday. I picked the Eagles in the Super Bowl against the Raiders. Bold, yes, I know. But the win-loss records weren't overly bold most across the board. I had the Eagles winning 11. I had Washington winning 9, Cowboys 8, Giants 7 in our division. So that's how I had the division shaking out. So the Cowboys, in my opinion, there is something brewing in Dallas that's about to blow up big time. And we might see McCarthy, Dak, Zeke, a whole bunch of people gone from Dallas by the end of the year or beginning of next year. That whole organization is about to go through some rough turmoil times.
Good, because they don't run that organization well. They run it. The egomaniac Jerry Jones runs it, and what's that?
I like that they run it so poorly.
I do too, because I mean, what's that?
He's an idiot. Jerry Jones.
He's an idiot.
Like, he really is. If you look at the reason why the Dallas Cowboys have not succeeded as far as like winning playoff games and winning Super Bowls since forever, it's because of Jerry Jones. Like, every single year that they have even a good roster, something happens, whether they bring in a certain player that kind of isn't just part of that good culture that's going to create a winning culture. That's what I think it is. I think Jerry Jones, it's his ego. He thinks that he knows better than everybody. Like, Jerry Jones is like the reason why Dallas Cowboys fail every single year.
100%.
It's not the players. It's Jerry Jones.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. All right, next piece of topic here on before we get to Eagles, Lions, and start that. I really feel like Mondays will be the recap, so we won't be normally doing that. They're tanking for Peyton. I said that the day that Sean Payton quit, retired, called it, whatever you want to call what he did to New Orleans, guarantee that's what's going on down there. All right, before we get specifically into the Eagles, my man, well, he's not my man because I can't stand the guy, Dan Cilio, over at Jacob Media, who we started the morning show trend on YouTube. They copied. They get more viewers because they spend money out the wazoo in promotion and advertising. And to bring in all these big names, Dan Cilio, yesterday. Hold on. I wasn't even prepared. I wasn't even ready for this here. Let me bring up my Dan Cilio tweet from yesterday. Okay. It's just pathetic. Why can't I find it now?
Thanks for finding it, by the way, Mark.
What's up?
Shout out to Mark for finding this.
Yeah, I mean, dude,
I don't follow the guy.
He tweeted, and then there's this woman that is a big time Eagles fan. She tweets her mom, who's like 90, that dances for every Eagles game, and they got into it really bad. And then the race card pulled out. And I remember you saying something, Phil, about him having problems previously at other stops, and I looked him up, and like the guy's a fucking creep. Excuse my language. I mean,
it's a fair statement. I mean, his tweet yesterday that sets us off is, I mean, really, if the Eagles believed so much in Jalen Hurts, why would you let him start the season making less than college quarterbacks? Fly, Eagles, fly. Well, first off, that's just basic. I mean, it's worse than trolling. I mean, it's just pathetic. Because obviously he's on his rookie contract, and look, I don't even care about how bad the comment is. I care about the big name media people that most people look to. And I had this conversation with Rob Thomson 2 years ago on a different podcast about being a reporter, being on the beat, and being respectful about how and only like you have such a big platform and not just saying blatant, obviously stupid things just to get clicks. Have some self-respect in what you report, what you say, formulate your opinions the right way, and then people will respect you and you can respect yourself. Dan Sileo right there, that kind of a comment, it just shows that he doesn't care. He's getting paid a bag. He's going to say whatever it takes. And it's insulting to the fans to have to see that kind of stuff. But yet people still go and tune into his show every single day. And it's pathetic. I'm not jealous. I'm just disappointed that that's what it takes. I could come out here and say shit like that and get more people watching the show, but I won't because I respect what I have to say. I want people to respect what I have to say. And Dan Sileo saying that kind of crap makes literally no sense because, yes, they literally cannot pay Hurts any more money. It's literally exactly what he is required to be paid from his draft slot on his rookie deal. So it's just blatant stupidity on Dan Sileo's part. And it really annoys the hell out of me.
I mean,
Here's the deal.
I would be jealous of the guy. The guy's, like, as I said, an idiot. To me, people that use that style of journalism or, reporting, it just proves why so many people are turned off by radio.
He's not even on the radio anymore.
Well, no, he's not. Because he sucked. But my point is that now he's trying to take what he did there that failed and use it, in another avenue, and it's having the same result. It's like, dude, you don't have to be the hot take or the person that just tries to start a fire to get attention. That's basically what it is. The guy wants attention.
When you talk about the media, and this is beyond sports, I search for the truth, and it's hard today to find the truth because everybody is either loud or bombastic or for the clicks, hot takes across the board, whether it's politics, local news coverage, or your sports, and it is disheartening. It really is, and it makes the consumer, the general public, it's that much harder for you to really find the truth, and you have to dig really, really hard to do that. Libby, I don't agree. I think the Lions beat the Eagles on the first game.
No. He's out of here for that one. I'm not letting him be on the show anymore for that.
Oh, God.
That was an overreaction. Save it. Look,
I don't.
They're not gonna lose. Okay. All right. So let's start. Let's start. Eagles Lions preview. Forget about Dan Sileo's crap. It really annoyed me, his statement, because it's just blatant, obvious stupidity. But yet, people still tune into his shit. Like, it just really annoys me. I had to bring it up. But Eagles Lions. Let's start the preview of Eagles Lions. Slow start. I know there's a lot of people pulling for the slow start thread that's going to happen. But, Mark, can you name 6 starters on Detroit?
Jared Goff and a bunch of other guys. And Deuce Staley's an assistant coach.
Yeah,
and Dan Campbell is a nutbag. What George said, not so much a slow start. I just get this weird feeling that they're not going to be able to win this game. And I don't think it's as much as the Eagles are failing. I just think the Lions, for whatever reason, I think they're just going to win the game. Maybe I'm wrong, and I probably am, to be honest with you. But I'd like to see the Eagles. It's
wrong,
weird.
Wrong word on pulling. Just that people keep talking this thread that they're gonna lose to the Lions.
Listen. Everybody's their pick is the Eagles. They're going to win the division. They're going to win 12 games. They're going to go on a Super Bowl run. They got this. They got that. I need them knocked down a peg to make them aware that they aren't probably as good as everybody's making them out to be. Because I think everybody's making them out to be here, but I think they're kind of like here. And I don't want them to get a big head about themselves. Maybe they need to be humbled a little. I don't know if it makes any sense or not, but that's just my feeling.
What you're saying. I just don't think the Lions are that team to humble them. I mean, I'm looking at their roster. Jared Goff obviously is their quarterback. Their backup quarterback is Nate Sudfeld. So that tells you about that.
Nate's a
DeAndre
legend.
Swift is a really good running back when he's healthy. They're wide. I mean, we've got now this great secondary that we've got to stop. Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark, and Josh Reynolds. All okay wide receivers. None of them are number ones. Most of them aren't number twos. We're going to learn really quick if our linebacker crew is any better than it used to be, because TJ Hawkinson's one of the best tight ends in football. But outside, I mean, Penny Sewell, they got Vaitai, former Eagles. I'm not even going to try to say his first name, but Vaitai is on their starting line. But that's it. I mean, their offense is not scary. Our defense is so good. And yes, if we win it,
didn't we win like 48-10 against them last season too, and embarrassed the hell out of them? Yeah. So this is going to be their home opener, the first game. I could see the Eagles losing the first game, and then I think they go into the Vikings game and they beat the balls off them. I really do. I hate the fact that it's a Monday night game. By the way, I think I said that already, but
I love that it's a Monday night game because I'm in Mexico, and the Sunday night and Monday night games are the only games that air in Mexico. So I get to actually watch the Eagles game on a TV and not on my cell phone. So I'm excited this year for it. Look, their defense. I mean, I'm looking at all their starters on defense, and only one name stands out as a name I know anything about, and that's their number 1 overall pick, Aiden Hutchinson. Look, this line is not good. They're improving. They're improving the culture of the team. They're not going to lose 48-10 to the Eagles, but they're not going to come out and get beat by this team. And look, yeah, I know everybody's saying, and not just George, but we've played one drive as an offense all preseason, but that's like 85-90% of the NFL. That's kind of the way it goes. So it's not just the Eagles. I don't know how many offensive drives the Lions starters have had, but I'm pretty sure Jared Goff wasn't out there for 2-3 quarters a game. I'm sure Amon St. Brown wasn't out there much. DeAndre Swift probably barely touched the football in preseason because he's already gets banged up anyway. We're not the only team that's running this kind of philosophy of minimal usage of our starters in the offseason and in preseason games. So if we start out a little slow, so will they. Our defense is better. Defense always picks up first. To me, it's not even close of a matchup for the Eagles. Jason, go ahead. I know you have a bunch ready to say there.
Well, because this is where I always say any given Sunday. Because don't forget, in 2019, the Lions beat the Eagles in a game where the Eagles were supposed to smack them. Same situation. That was a different roster. They had Matt Stafford, but you know who their starting running back was? J.D. McKissick. They now have DeAndre Swift. So let's not act like the Lions are just this garbage team that the Eagles are going to just
garbage team never came out.
I know that, but my point is that everyone's making this assumption that the Eagles are just that much better. The Eagles were that much better in 2019, and they got beat because it's any given Sunday. And I agree with Mark. I'm not saying listen, I'm not coming out right now and saying the Eagles are going to lose, but what I'm saying is it wouldn't shock me if the Eagles came out stagnant in week 1 because of their preseason philosophy, because of the fact that they haven't played their starters but one drive. The fact that Nick Sirianni had this, basically blasé approach in preseason. That could hurt the Eagles, and that's all I'm saying. I see where people are coming from with this because you can't just turn it on like that. Like it's like.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. What the hell?
I have no idea what happened. I just muted him there.
I didn't know what was going on there.
Sorry. I muted you. I didn't know what was going on there.
What I'm saying is you can't just turn it on and expect that this team is just going to come out and gangbusters and blow the doors off the Lions. Now, could it happen? Absolutely. That could happen. But I think the slow start thing, there is something to that.
But again, every team is pretty much running the same philosophy. This is not a new approach that the Eagles are the only team doing it.
Not the Lions. Did you watch any of the
So I watched literally 0 seconds of Lions preseason football, and I'm assuming that Jason you're trying to say that if you watched more than 30 seconds of Lion preseason football, then you need to get a life because there's no reason for anybody to be watching Lions preseason football.
Weren't they on Hard Knocks this year?
Hard Knocks.
Well, I don't get HBO, so no, I did not watch that.
Okay.
So just to Jason, I'm glad you somewhat agree with me, and I do think that this could be quote unquote a trap game. With respect to the offense only playing one series, preseason is handled much differently today than it was even 5 years ago. If you have a team and you're pretty sure that of all your starters, like your offensive line, our Eagles offensive line have played together for a good bit, and those that haven't are solidified in their roles. You already know who's making the starting squad on that, so you don't really have to play them. Practice the hell out of them. Do the scrimmage stuff. Don't put them on the field where they can get hurt. I think a lot of teams are going that route now. I think you're going to see more of that, and you may see less preseason games and an 18th game popping up pretty soon. So
to address this, and I have watched Campbell coach. I love him. I think he's their biggest asset on their entire team right now. I said this last season that I liked the way the intensity was turning and the culture changing in Detroit. I have them winning 7 games this year, Detroit. They're going to take a step forward. It still does not mean that they're good enough to beat the Eagles with or without preseason snaps, with or without any of that stuff. It doesn't mean anything. The Eagles are just a supremely talented team compared to the Lions. Every single position, you go down their board. Who's better, this player or this player? Every single one of them, you're going to check Eagles on. Guaranteed.
And it was the same in 2019, and the Eagles lost.
2019 was a different team. It was a different squad. It was a different everything.
But I'm just saying, you're basing what you're saying. You're saying the Eagles are supremely better. The Eagles
are supremely better
in 2019 than the Lions
and they lost.
On paper.
And there was problems in 2019. And 2019, different coach, different quarterback, different a lot of things. How many players are even on our team still from 2019 of importance?
I got that, but my point is you can't just base it on the roster.
No, what you can't say is you can't say because 3 years ago it happened against Detroit that it's going to happen this year because it's a different season, a different team, a different organization, a different everything.
I can say it because it's any given Sunday. Once again, I'm saying the Eagles are going to win the game Sunday. But what I'm saying is it's not going to be a cakewalk.
You can't go back.
It's not going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I've already said it's going to be a
well, there's people out there saying we're going to slaughter them, and that's wrong.
Well, but the fact that people try to say that we're going to lose, Mark's trying to say that we could lose this game. We're not going to lose.
Here's the thing. To Jason's point again, in a football season, a football team typically will end up winning a game that they should have lost and lose a game that they should have won. And I'm saying this Lions game may be that game that they should win, that they may lose. That doesn't mean that the team sucks. Like I said, I think they whitewashed the Vikings. I think they go on a run. I think they do win 11 games this year. I do think they win a playoff game. And I think if things go the way, if everything goes according to plan, they could make a serious run to the Super Bowl because looking at the other teams in the conference, I just don't have that confidence. I mean, people are talking about Green Bay. I don't really see it. San Francisco, I don't really see it. Tampa Bay, I don't know. I mean, there's stuff going on. They got a new coach. So I think the entire NFC is up for grabs, and why can't the Eagles grab it? But I think a lot of things have to go right for them to make that happen.
I'm not dismissing the Lions. I'm just saying the Eagles are a better team. I've already been open about my opinion on the Lions being a good team, an improved culture, improved everything. They're just not there yet. They just cannot match up. And it's going to be – I wouldn't be surprised if we're losing 14-10 at halftime. I wouldn't be surprised about that. But this team is not going to come out week 1 and get beat by the Lions. They're just not. It's just not possible. I'm sorry.
And what will your
And
reaction?
any given Sunday, anybody could lose because in 2019 the Lions beat.
What will your reaction be if they do come out and lose, Phil? Are you going to come on and say I was wrong? I mean, like you're acting like
I know he's always getting.
You're acting like it's not going to happen. It could happen.
It's not going to happen.
That's
Look,
what Mark said.
I never.
It's going to happen.
I never say
to the Lions.
Have I ever not come on here and admitted I was wrong? I always
wrong. Mark said they could lose to the Lions, not they are going to lose.
Jason, have I ever not come on here and admitted my mistakes? I'm
not saying you haven't, but I mean, don't come at me for disagreeing.
I'm not coming at you.
Mark,
I'm just saying I'm coming at you.
Mark said that you're not going to win. And you're beating up
Mark literally said they could lose.
Your reasoning is because they lost in 2019, and that is your only reasoning. You're not giving me any other reason. You're saying because something that happened 3 years ago is why they're going to lose this year. That's not a reason. You could say that the lack of preseason games, that they have a really great right tackle, or they got their quarterback, or this or that, fine. But saying that the reason they could lose is because they lost in 2019, that's not a reason. It's not. Everything is possible. Anything is possible. It's possible that I fire Mark and Jason right after the show.
Keep it up, Phil. Keep it up.
Hey, just so you know, we got Brendan D, who just got promoted. He is now with The Score. Great site. He'll be coming on Monday to tell me how right I was about the Lions not beating the Eagles, just so you know. I got him coming on Monday next week.
Listen, I think there's a good shot the Lions could beat the Eagles, but chances are the Eagles are probably going to win, but don't be surprised if they don't. Look, you kick Jason off.
I didn't do anything to Jason. His internet, his redness in his face must have dripped onto his computer and shut him off.
I just know like how like some of these things can happen. Like, but I think in the bigger picture stuff, the whole season, I think they're going to be one of those players that are going to make a potential Super Bowl run. But there's a chance that could start off slow and lose against the Lions. I just have this weird feeling like the game is not going to go exactly the way that all our Eagle fans that think they're going to go. Because I think if you poll 10 fans, 9 of them are going to say that they're going to whitewash the Lions, and the 10th is they're going to say they'll probably end up beating them. I don't want to get on that boat that they're going to whitewash the Lions. I don't feel it at all. And
your brain exploded all over your screen and shut you down.
You kicked me off.
I did not kick you off. That is such a bold, blatant, open lie.
You had Jason go twice today. The red face and the hands are going like this.
It brings
it's a good show when that happens.
Look. We've got 3 more days to talk about. Friday, one of the members of the Pride of the Lions podcast, I had them on the show last year during Lions Week. One of their guys is going to be coming on Friday morning to give us a hands-on account of the Lions. And we'll see what they have to say changes my opinion whatsoever. All right, I want to end this show with a fun little topic. Something that set a lot of people, including Mark, off this weekend. Okay? Overreaction Monday. Statement right here. Rocky 3 is the worst of the original 5 Rockies. Maybe one of the worst Rocky movies, counting all the spinoffs, all the sequels, all the reboots, everything. Rocky 3 is the worst Rocky movie ever made. Overreaction Monday. Mark's turning red now.
You got to be out of your mind, dude. That was one of the greatest ones. I might even put it second over Rocky 2.
No,
I might even put it second.
Dude,
it had everything in it. It had Mr.
He's the worst.
It had Thunder Lips. It had the statue on the top of the art museum steps. It had
Apollo Creed.
Yeah, Apollo Creed running on the beach with
water. And he,
and he kept saying,
Mark, that scene of the two of them hugging and splashing.
Oh, that was the manliest scene in the movie.
One of the worst scenes in the
cinematic
movie history.
When he pulled Paulie into the pool, that was a great scene. That was awesome.
Awful. The worst movie ever made, period.
It was a great 80s movie. Great.
Worst Rocky movie of all time. Jason.
God, Phil.
I actually I actually like Rocky 3, but I think Rocky 4 was definitely better.
No, absolutely.
I'm a big 4 guy. I always thought Rocky 4 had the best soundtrack out of all the Rockies. I think Rocky 4 was supremely better. But I did like 3 because of Mr. T. I'm a huge A-Team guy.
One of the worst actors of all time.
I'm an A-Team guy, so I love Mr. T.
So am I. I mean, my first dog was named after a member after the A-Team, so
What was your dog's name?
My first dog was Colonel Decker.
No kidding.
The army guy that used to chase the A-Team around every episode and try to capture them. My dog's name, not just Decker, his actual paperwork was Colonel Decker.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
but you're totally wrong with the Rocky 3, man.
No, Rocky 3 is awful. It is so bad. Mr. T's acting is so bad. So bad.
He wasn't in it that much. He was only boxing.
And then the love fest between Rocky and Apollo was disgusting. Okay.
You didn't like when Apollo was yelling at me and going, "What's the matter with you?"
No.
You didn't like that?
That was bad, man.
You didn't like at the end when they fought each other?
That was cool and fun. But it was unnecessary. That was post-credit scenes before post-credit scenes were actually a thing.
Speaking of Sylvester Stallone, you guys got to check out Samaritan. It just came out.
Yeah, I've heard. I've seen the commute.
It was actually awesome, dude. How he's 77 years old now.
Mark, I'm going to put it this way: Rocky 3 is so bad. I'd rather watch Over the Top 3 times than Rocky 3 one time.
Over the Top was another good.
I'd rather watch
Tango and Cash. That was another good Stallone
the mafia
movie.
one where he was the mafia head. It was like a comedy almost.
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. No.
I forget which one it was. Oh man, I'm trying to look it up, but I'm typing in Rocky instead of Sylvester Stallone. So
listen, we all make fun of Sylvester Stallone and whatnot, but he's made some really good movies. Rocky's one of them. Copland, if you've ever seen Copland, that's a fantastic movie.
Awesome.
And he was really, 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 really good in Creed. I believe he was nominated for an Academy Award for that. Yeah. Shame he didn't get it. But Oscar, is that the name of the movie? That's the name of my dog who's laying over here scrubbing his ass. But he's not a bad actor. That man made Rocky with like $100 in the bank, and he bet on himself and won big time.
Yeah, but Rocky 3 still sucks ass.
Okay. All right, I'm obviously not going to be able to change your opinion on that. But
throwing in the towel on this episode.
And Rocky 5, can we all agree Rocky 5 sucks?
No, Rocky 5, I like the grittiness. You lose all your money. You go back to the streets of Philadelphia.
That was a bad movie.
Your brother-in-law that screws you and loses all your money. You don't kick him on the streets. Rocky's got to go back to work. Tommy Gunn Morrison. Tommy Gunn Morrison was a better actor in Rocky 5 than Mr. T was as Clubber Lang.
Oh, my God.
Then you got the knockoff makeshift Don King in the movie. I don't even remember what that guy's name was in the movie. Come on. It was great acting. The grittiness of being back in the streets of Philly instead of in your rich mansion living up in the hills. Loved Rocky 5 more than Rocky 3. It's the fourth worst. Or second worst, but, it's better than 3. Easy. It's 1, 2, 4, 5, 3.
We agree to disagree, Phil. We'll just leave it at that.
Let's wrap this up. It's Labor Day. I got to get to work here. Happy Labor Day to everybody. Happy Overreaction Monday to everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. More Phillies, more Eagles, Lions talk. For my main man, Mark Moschitelli down there, Jason Voorhees. I am Phil Stifel. Have fun on Labor Day. Enjoy it. Fall starts. We're back to football, guys. Everybody have a great day, and go Birds.
Go Birds.
And Philadelphia has it. Holding gets around